Today I would like to share with you a small topic about working environment. As you know, I have been working for more than 20 years as a human resources director, as human resources manager in both Vietnamese company and foreign companies. So today I would like to share with you some disadvantages when we are a newcomer in a company, both foreign company and Vietnamese company. This is my real experience about the work environment. I don't know exactly whether it is correct for everybody or not. So for me, I think it's quite obvious for employees who start working in the new working environment. The first disadvantage I would like to share with you about the boss, the manager. You know, before we join the work environment, we don't know exactly who the manager are, who the direct manager are. So sometimes when we start working in the work environment, we usually see some bosses, some senior managers are not talented as what we expect, right? It's very usual for the people, especially for the people who have a high position in the new company, to be honest. Sometimes we see that our boss, our manager is not as good as our expectation. So when we join the new work environment, these boss, the manager are not good at their expertise, their management skill. So we feel a little bit disappointed. And some bosses, especially some the direct manager, try to give us a lot of challenging, a lot of disadvantage for ourselves. Sometimes they ask us to follow some rules which they set up, although these rules are not good for everybody, are not good for employees who are working in the company. This is the first disadvantage we can face when we join the new work environment. Secondly, the colleagues. You know, when we join any work environment, normally we need to work with the colleagues. We need to do teamwork with the new colleagues. You know, some colleagues are not good anymore. They are envious of what we have, what position we have in the company. So they try to challenge us as much as possible. You know, some colleagues, they don't support us when we are a newcomer. By the way, they try to give the challenging to ourselves. They don't want ourselves to work in the company, alright? This is quite obvious in the competitive work environment. So if we work for this work environment, you need to try your best to overcome the difficulty, the challenging. You know, if we don't have the solution to go over the challenging, the difficulty from your boss, from your colleagues, from your co-workers. Honestly, it's very hard for you to live suitably in the new company. And the next advantage we usually face when we join a new work environment, you don't understand deeply and clearly about the policy of company. You don't understand clearly and deeply about how the other company, how the other department operate. You know, especially when you work in a big company, they usually have some particular rules for the employees, from the senior manager to the normal employees. So we need to follow these rules, these particular rules, and then sometimes it's not easy for us to adapt to these rules in the new work environment, to be honest. And the next advantage, the next disadvantage we usually face when we are the new employee in the company. If you are a junior manager, normally the boss usually gives you the hard mark for you, and they usually ask you to resolve the big issue in the company with some other manager in the company could resolve, and now they ask you to resolve the issue. So if you don't know how to pass over the challenging, honestly, it's very hard for you to get the good result when you work in this company, right? And honestly, when we work in a new work environment, we need to learn some skill to overcome the difficulties, challenging, and especially threat from the other people in the company. Let's believe that if you have real experience, you have a good ability, you have a good skill, you can do it better, and you can overcome the difficulty, challenging, and threats obstacles in the new work environment. Everything will be better when you work with the colleagues gradually, so you can see the disadvantages and disadvantages from these boss, these colleagues, right? This is something I would like to share with you today, and thank you for listening to my story today. Goodbye and see you on the next time.